Now, we have a lot of things to rejoice about, Steve, and I think one of the greatest is that God's going to permit us to go to Albania, an ancient country with a record of at least 2,000 years, ruled by the Romans for 500 years, ruled by the Turks for 400 years. They have only known, desperate times. The Russians came in through Hoxha, their president, and he became the most wicked of all the communist leaders, and killing and destroying the people. He is dead. He proclaimed to the world that it was the only atheistic country in the world, and he's in hell now, realizing how wrong he was. And there are thousands of those saints that are rejoicing.
Amen.
And we're going to take them food, and we thank God for it. We sent our top man over to Albania last week because we like to know the truth firsthand, you see. And so we sent Doug Garlinger. He is the chief engineer of all of our operations, of all 9 stations. If any station around the country has a problem, Doug goes to that station, whether it's Honolulu, or whether it's Denver, or whether it's Indianapolis. He goes, and that's his central station, Indianapolis. He goes there because he understands electronics. He understands cameras, so you send a man that knows how to repair it if it don't work. And Doug is in Indianapolis standing by right now. Good morning, Doug.
Dr. Sumrall?
Yeah.
How are you?
Yeah. How you doing?
I'm doing just fine.
Good. Good. You just got back from Europe and from Albania?
Yes, Monday evening I got back from Albania.
Good.
And we had a very good trip over there, and it was very interesting to see the conditions. Some of the places were pretty deplorable.
Now,
and,
Doug, how many
brought
countries?
back pictures.
Doug, how many countries have you been in?
This makes my 33rd country that I've visited, all as a result of working for LeSEA Broadcasting. So I appreciate that very much.
You've been all through Europe and Africa and Asia
and Australia.
Australia?
Yeah, you haven't sent me to South America yet.
Well, I'm a little too poor for that right now.
Okay.
No, a lot of big need come up down there, and we'll be right in there on top of it.
I'm sure we will be.
Now, you've seen all these countries, over 30 of them. How does this country compare to some of the poorer countries that you have seen?
It's without a doubt the poorest country that I've ever been in outside of Africa. Now, there are a couple of countries in Africa that are pretty bad, but for Europe, this is unbelievably shocking. It's a very primitive lifestyle. It's literally like stepping back in a time machine to 1830.
Now, you have a cart.
Going from building to building, picking up trash. And
you have a cart here in it. Did you see a lot of those things?
Oh, yes. That's the primary means of transportation. Only 1 year ago, just 1 year ago, there were only 100 automobiles in the country.
In the entire nation?
In the entire nation. But now, there are many more automobiles in the city around Tirana. But in the rural areas, it's still largely horse-drawn carriages and the kind of transportation you would have expected 150 years ago.
Yeah. What were those little boys doing that you had there in the scene?
Well, I pulled the camera out at the city market in Skodra, which is the major city in the north part of Albania.
Yeah.
And this was at the city market where they sell their wares from their farms. And they just brought out a deck of cards and wanted me to take their picture. But this is the city market in one of the major cities of Tirana, of Albania. There are 4 major cities, and we visited all of them.
Now, what is this? What is this scene right here?
This is a typical way that they do their farming. There are a few tractors. Most of the farmers, however, do not even have fuel for their tractors. This is one of the rare tractors that we saw in the countryside, and so we took a picture of that.
Is that wheat in the background, or just grass, or what?
It's hay.
Did you talk to some of the people there? What do they have to say about their conditions?
Well, we've talked to many of the people, even when we would stop along the road in the country. It's surprising how many people do speak a little bit of English. And they would come up to us and they would say that life is very hard. They've been oppressed for over 40 years under the communist dictatorship of Enver Hoxha. And they're just now beginning to come out of that.
This Hoxha, did you hear much about him when you were there? He must have been the most wicked dictator they had in the whole of Europe.
Well, you know, the person that Hoxha admired most was Joseph Stalin.
Yeah.
He felt that the other East European countries in the last 30 years were too nice. And he admired Stalin, and Stalin's statues remained in Albania right up until just a few years ago when Hoxha died.
When he died, the statues came tumbling down.
Yeah, it didn't come down immediately, but in the next few months, Hoxha's hand-picked successor tried to keep the communist government in position, but it just didn't work, and in a few months then, everything came apart.
I see. And now they have more or less a democratic type of government there?
Yes, it's very open. They're very cooperative with Westerners. They're trying very hard to change the country, but there's no work at all right now. They've been paying all the workers 80% of their salary, even though they're not doing anything at this point. All the factories are shut down. We went down to the city of Elbasan, where when you drive down into the city, you can overlook all of these factories, acres and acres of factories, and you think you're driving into a major industrial complex. But when you get there, you find that all these factories are shut down. They have no raw materials.
That's because the country is bankrupt.
That's correct.
You think they need some food, that we should take food to those people?
They need just about everything you can think of. Although they do have some basic foodstuffs, they need a lot of things. Food and detergent to wash their clothes with. Although they do have a little bit of soap for their personal use to wash themselves and their hands and keep themselves clean. By and large, there's no detergent, no soap in the country to wash at the orphanages that we went to and the old folks' homes. The sheets could not be washed with soap. They had to be boiled.
Because they had no kind of soap to wash their... Was this true also in the hospitals?
Yes, yes. You can see here how dingy. How would you like to sleep on that pillowcase? I suppose it's sterile because it's been boiled, but it's certainly not clean, and it's just filthy. All of the bedclothes are filthy. These beds are 40 years old. The mattresses are about 1.5 inches, 2 inches thick. It's a deplorable situation.
Well, we're taking beds and mattresses and all kinds of things with us on the boat over there, so that we will give them to these hospitals. I guess we should begin with the children's home, shouldn't we?
Yes, because there's a great need at the children's homes. This country, here we can see the boiling of the sheets that I was telling you about. You've got to understand that this cleaning facility, cleaning these bedclothes, is a cleaning facility for an entire small hospital with many patients, and that's the only way they have to clean. This is the only way that they have to cook their food. They use firewood, and it's not even, it's just kindling. There are no good logs to use because the people over the years have cut down all the trees. There are very few trees remaining in Albania because they've been cut down for firewood.
Terrible situation, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Well, I'm going over next week to look at these people personally myself, and to have some gospel meetings over there, and then our plane will be coming in, and it will have food on it, and I think we better put some soap on board every day. Yeah, they certainly need a lot of soap to keep their clothes and everything clean. And of course, they have no paper products of any kind either. Paper? You don't have any toilet paper, you mean?
Yeah, that's one of the paper products that they don't have. But any kind of a paper product that the men and women need, they do not have.
Huh. Isn't that amazing? Well, that helps us to know some of the things we need to remember to take with us, and so we'll do the best we can with it.
Well, it was a pleasure to have the opportunity to go and see this need. I enjoyed meeting our Feed the Hungry director for this part of Europe, Ron Robertson. He's doing a very good job over there. He coordinated everything for me so I could get into these locations. And I think the thing that I would point out most about the trip and about this country is that this is a very important time right now to help these people, because we can really make a difference here. We can get in there now and we can change these people's lives. This is a window of opportunity that we should not let pass. And if Christians want to let this pass, the Saudi Arabians are standing by, and they're more than ready to come in and to take over the orphanages and to bring the children up as Muslims.
Oh, they're ready to take that whole nation right now.
Yeah, this is the only nation in Europe that its history was predominantly Muslim. It was under the domination of the Ottoman Empire for 400 years, and there was a strong Muslim influence in this country. But there's also a potential for strong Christian influence as well, and we can take advantage of that.
And the government is friendly toward Christians, huh?
It is very friendly towards Christians. Ron Robertson has made great contacts with the President and the Prime Minister, and we have all of our permissions in place to bring in the Hercules and to bring in the Spirit ship.
That's a pitiful looking person you have there.
Certainly is. This was in Elbasan, a city in the south.
Oh.
And there were many unfortunate people like him.
Well, thank you, Doug. We're glad you're back safely, and appreciate you bringing back these true-to-life pictures of those people over there. And I'll be going in personally next week, and we're going to believe God to bless those people.
Well, they're expecting you, Dr. Sumrall. The government that knows you're coming. A lot of people know the ship's coming in a few months and that the airplane's coming in a few weeks. So I'm sure you'll get a very warm welcome when you're there.
Good. Well, you also saw the harbors over there, did you?
Yes, the harbor is Durrës, and it's about 20 to 30 miles from the city of Tirana. And they're unloading here some Italian ships. Some of the Italians are just right across the Adriatic Sea from Albania, very close. And so they now have come in and they're trying to help the country too.
That's good, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Well, we certainly appreciate knowing all this, and may the good Lord bless you. And we thank God that you're back home.
All right. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Thank you, Doug. Goodbye now.